Hi, I'm Rewind Mike, and I told you I'd be back again. This time with my top 5 SNES games, here to finish off my list. Now these games weren't very easy for me to pick. It was probably one of the harder things I've had to do in a really long time, actually. I really hope you guys, like my next couple of selections, and we're going to just jump right into this, so enjoy.
Number 5! This game is beyond amazing. It's The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. And it's the first Zelda game I was fully able to enjoy from beginning to end. The original Legend of Zelda was very confusing, and only gave you small bits of info to help you progress through the story. There was too much misdirection. And on the other hand, Link's adventure was just too damn hard. I was always able to get to a certain point in the game before I would just get stuck. And I hated the fact that when you died, you would lose all the experience you earned. That meant if it was a P bag, which gives you experience, was placed on a level in the game for you to find, it wouldn't be there when you continued. And that made trying to level up almost impossible without constant grinding. Right away, the game starts up with a text box. That was pretty foreign to me. I used to play a lot of fighting games, beat-em-ups, and platformers when I was younger, but I digress. As soon as the text box disappears, you get out of the bed and you walk outside, and it's raining. Now this really sets the atmosphere for the game already, and the music is constantly building up. The opening to this game is just too good for words, and it really lays down the groundwork for the mission at hand. Now the first half of the game is easy enough. There are only 3 dungeons, and they were easy to find. Nothing cryptic about it. You open the map and boom, you go here, you go there, and you go there. Cool. Now that's what I really liked about the game, so much more. The level of help that was given. It wasn't too much to where it felt like your hand was being held, but it was just enough to show you how to enter the lion's den. Some of my best times were spent playing this game. I loved all the music in it and can listen to the soundtrack and just be taken right back into the game without even having to be playing it. It was one of those things in life you can't let go of. It had some of the best moments in my gaming history and probably one of the first games I beat 100%. It's also home to one of my favorite boss fights, and I think one of the hardest boss fights in any top-down Legend of Zelda game. If you haven't played this game yet, I don't know what you're doing or what you're waiting for, but you guys really need to try it out.
Number 4!
Don't act like you didn't know this was coming. It's Super Castlevania 4, Devil Rondo Temple of Doom. The game was a complete revival of the Castlevania series, and the first real new additions were made to the gameplay. You were now able to whip in different directions, you could swing from loops, and you could make jumps without having to worry about getting dropped into a sinkhole every time. This game did things right, and it offered a really rewarding feeling to finish those stages. Every Castlevania game before this is a little tough, and I was young as hell playing those games and couldn't always get far. Castlevania 4 was a little nicer about it, but it still didn't hold your hand. The controller really helped out a lot though. Not only with the addition of more buttons, but the D-pad was bigger also. Now, the reason I mention these two things is my hands are big, and they were big. So with Castlevania on the NES, I would always use my sub-weapons when I didn't want to. But now the sub-weapon is set to the R button, and the D-pad is a lot bigger, allowing more comfortable movement. Again, this is another game where every song just happens to fit the area and the situation that you're in, and beautifully at that. This game also boasts some well thought out enemies, and just like the other Konami games I've mentioned on my video, this was a game where you were fighting to get to that boss at the end of the stage. Now, when I found this game out in the wild, I lucked out. I was around 14 or 15 years old, and I was in a KB toy store, and I was looking at something on the wall that was right next to the cash register. And when I turned around, I caught a glimpse of a box that was underneath the register, and in it I saw Castlevania 4, and there was a price tag on it for only $15.99. I was like, excuse me, what's that? Can I have it? I want to buy it, please. I pulled out the little bit of money I had, and I bought that sucker, and I've had it ever since. And if I had to say, it was also the start of me collecting box games, although I did fall off for many years.
Number 3.
Yep, that's right, it's Donkey Kong Country. There really isn't much I can say about this game either that hasn't already been said by everyone else. My childhood and this game go together like white on rice. When I first played this game, it was at a Toys R Us. I walked up to the controller and the TV and I started playing it. And boy, was I jaw dropped. The graphics, the gameplay, the music, the enemies, and the stage effects. Holy jeez, I knew I wasn't going to get this game for a while. Now, I didn't get the game that day, oh no. But I did get to go to Blockbuster and I rented it. And I played the hell out of it, from start to finish. Now, I enjoyed every bit, and no one can take that from me. The game still lives with me today, as one of the best games I've ever played. So much love, care, and emotion was put into this game, and you can really feel that. It wasn't just about Donkey and Diddy, but the adventure you had with them. The one part that always comes back to me the strongest is when it's snowing. Outside my house. I can't help but think of Donkey Kong Country. They made the snow in that game that I play look so nice, I relate all snow to it. And that's just one of the many reasons why Donkey Kong Country is number 3 on my list.
Number 2.
Holly jeez, it's Super Mario World! This game was one of the first games I got to play on the SNES. I didn't get the system when it first came out. A little while after it launched, so did FuncoLand, so we traded in our NES for an upgrade. FuncoLand was pretty much a GameStop, except they would let you try games out before you bought them. Anyway, Super Mario, yeah! This game was a step up from the rest in terms of everything, and the Koopa Kids are back. I like these little buggers. I also like when a game builds up an enemy so much you can't wait to take them down. The stages are big, and there isn't always one way to beat them. There are many branching paths, making it one of the bigger Mario games on the cartridge era of Nintendo. The one thing I didn't like was the lack of suits. I don't know about you guys, but I really liked the Frog suit and the Tanuki suit from Mario Bros. 3. But what it lacked in suits, it made up for in different colored Yoshis! Each color Yoshi had a different power, which was very helpful. My favorite was the blue Yoshi. He would fly across the map with ease. All you had to do was eat a turtle shell, and it didn't even matter what color it was. That made navigating and trying to find those pesky secrets very easy. Overall, Super Mario World is one of my favorite games, and I own it on every platform it was released on, digital or physical, because it's just that damn good. They can keep taking my monies for it.
Number 1.
That's right, mother chucker! It's Earthworm Jim 2. Probably one of the most visually stunning games on the SNES. Everything is over the top and crazy, from the enemies to the stages and even the hero himself. Now, some of the weirder things in the game are what made it so special to me. There's an area with grannies that fall from the sky, and you have to dodge them to make it to your destination. Another area in the game, you find yourself running from Salt Shaker, hiding underneath meat that's on forks, to not get salted. There's also a really cool flying part in the game that's tough, but it's done nicely. My favorite area in the game, you find yourself flying around a cave. Not too much going on here, just trying to navigate and not mess up. The best part though, is the music here. This game got me into classical music, and there's more than one score on this game. There were just so many good ideas put into this game, and they were all pulled off perfectly. The difficulty on the game is more on the tough side, and getting through the whole thing the first time would be crazy. There's way too much randomness going on, but mixed with fast gameplay and high stake risks. In the end though, it's all good fun, and Earthworm Jim 2 was my most fun game on the SNES 3DS. Number! Super Metroid. This game doesn't get a spot on the list, because if it did, it would be in every spot. This was a huge advancement over the other Metroid games, plus it was a lot more friendly. Ridley comes in and kicks your ass no matter what, and takes
the last Metroid.
The race is on. You have 1 minute to escape the exploding space station that you're on. The game just started and already they're putting the pressure on, and I'm up for a good challenge. This game can tend to be a labyrinth if you don't know where you're heading. But I like that, and it didn't always take away from the experience of the game, nor did it get boring at any point. And the map is huge, so you shouldn't get bored with it. You always felt like you were moving forward. This was the second Metroid game I played, the first being on the Game Boy. I loved that game too, but it also was very hard for me when I was younger, so I skipped over finishing it. When a friend brought over Super Metroid to my house, I was instantly sucked into the game and the amazing atmosphere it creates. You're just kinda out there, alone, no other human contact, surrounded by aliens, on a foreign planet, almost naked and not knowing what to expect. This game can be tough at times, and it doesn't offer up much direction, but they make up for that with a ton of health and weapon drops. I've spent many hours trying to learn the ins and outs of Super Metroid. There is a ton of unique abilities, each more valuable than the last, to help you progress through the area. I don't even know where to start with these abilities, so I'll just name my favorites. I love the Ice Beam. I love the fast running. The screw attack's a must, and the power bombs. Now after taking out Kraid, you get rewarded the iconic orange suit that Samus dons now. There's so many memorable moments in this game.
So there you have it. That's my top 10 SNES games plus one. Now at the end of the day, this was a really hard list for me to build. And there were a lot of games that I reluctantly had to leave off of the list. A lot of notable mentions. Maybe I'll do something about those games later on down the road. But for right now, this was my definitive list. These were the games I enjoyed most as a child and the games that saw my console the most. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. And as always, like, comment, and subscribe. And try to get you my next video as soon as possible.